Printing.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
I love Google, Roman.
Yeah.
I just Googled Arcadia, Florida. We live 2 hours and 47 minutes by I-75 from Arcadia.
Okay.
I think I might move there. It sounds like the place to be in the future.
Yeah.
Mike McCoy is on the phone. He's a businessman. He's worked in the consumer electronics industry for over 25 years. He's an entrepreneur. He's athletic. It says he's known for his long-distance events. Did he do the New York Marathon?
Last
week?
I don't know if he did or not.
He competed in the full Ironman triathlon. Oh, my gosh. What do I have that I can try to impress him with?
You rode your bicycle 50 miles.
See? I can do that, but that was like 40 years ago. Yeah. He's got a book. It's called Asteroids, Bridge to Nowhere, and I'm going to let him tell you why I'm going to move to Arcadia. Hey, good morning, Mike McCoy. Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're not too far from Arcadia. I'm thinking about moving there now that I know the future.
Yeah, now that you know what's going to happen in New Arcadia, huh?
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm in the Los Angeles area.
Oh, in L.A., okay. You know what we're going to do? Next year, Robin and I are going to hold the ropes to one of the helium balloons in the Christmas parade in Hollywood.
There you go.
I just volunteered yesterday, but it's too late for this year's parade, so next year we're going to be the rope holders.
There you go.
Assuming we don't have an asteroid shower.
Yeah.
That ruins everything for us.
Yeah, it could puncture your dreams and the balloon, too.
You know, the premise of the book, though, could really happen. I mean, am I being too pessimistic that that's a possibility?
No, it's a real possibility. Asteroids have hit Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs, and there's been lots of impacts over time.
Yeah, and we were always told, unless I just didn't pay attention, we're always told that there was one asteroid, but in your book there's a whole storm of asteroids, and that really seems feasible, especially if a planet is destroyed somehow, and there's lots of rocks flying everywhere, and we run into that path of rocks, right?
Yeah, that could be one way. I wrote my idea of how an asteroid storm could come to Earth. And one day I saw a scientist, Dr. Joe Newth from the Goddard Flight Center, and I wrote to him and sent him my idea of how an asteroid storm could come to Earth. And he said, no, that's impossible. But I will tell you how it could happen. So he gave me the concept for how the asteroid storm could come to Earth. So it could really happen.
Okay. But if there's any footage of it, it's probably going to come from dashboard cams in Russia. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it seems like all the dashboard cams of things flying through the sky come from Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of asteroids over there.
Everybody has a dashboard cam, and
So I want to talk about the premise of the book, but I also kind of want to go to the science of the asteroid part of this. But let's do the book first. So the book is doing really well on Amazon. I noticed you're getting some really good reviews. When did the book come out?
Yes. It came out in September.
Oh, okay, very new. The one thing I don't know is how to say Colonel Crookshank's name. Am I saying it right, Crookshank?
You said it perfect. Yep, Colonel Crookshank.
So tell us about the story. We'll start with him. Who is he?
He is kind of an evil colonel. He runs a secret part of the government that knew the asteroid storm was coming for many years and had time to plan, but he kept it secret, even from his own government, and planned and created underground cities to protect his few and the fortunate so that they could emerge after the storm and create a new, more humane humanity. He wants to create a utopia no matter what it takes. He'll do almost anything.
Okay. And is that what we're doing? Is that why we have a space station and we're trying to land on the moon? Are we just going to take the few and the fortunate and put them up on the moon, and then when the Earth is destroyed, then they come back and say, well, too bad?
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, when you talk about utopia, if it's created and not forced upon, is that different than if it is forced upon?
It in the book, definitely Crookshank, you kind of have to wonder, is he evil or just misguided? He really wants the best for people, but he does it in a way that, kind of forces the issue.
But he's... Bless you. Who's that?
Joe.
Was that here? Oh, okay. So, but is he, oh gosh, I was distracted by that. But he's not responsible for the asteroid, so he's not that evil. I mean, he's just responsible. Are the few and the fortunate his own family?
No, they're hundreds of thousands of people that he saves in multiple cities, but he doesn't tell anybody else. So our main character discovers that this asteroid storm could be coming, and because Crookshank doesn't want the press to know, they want to keep everything secret, they kidnap Rick Monday, the astrophysicist, take him to New Arcadia, your favorite new city, and want him to work. They want him to work with them, but Rick really wants to get home to his family. So that's the most important thing to him, is his family, and he wants to warn people about the storm. So he escapes from New Arcadia, and the adventure ensues.
Explain the title of Bridge to Nowhere.
Bridge to Nowhere is a real place. It's just north of me in Los Angeles, in the mountains above Los Angeles. And it's a location where Rick needs to go to get to his family.
Oh, okay. And the Arcadia in the book is not the one here in Florida. This is New Arcadia. This is different, right?
New Arcadia. It's in Maryland. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you've got Rick, and then you've got other characters in there, and then they create an actual living space for Courtney, for the children within a mine that has been abandoned. And it is pretty amazing the way that you describe it. I felt like I was really there.
Oh, yeah. And the Bridge to Nowhere is a real place. And I've hiked up there. In fact, just recently, about a month ago, I hiked up there and I met the owner of the bridge. But in the book, just past the bridge, there's a old abandoned mine, and Rick's uncle Rob has created a hideaway to protect the family. And so it's really a prepper kind of thing, end of the world prepper place where you can live and be self-sustained for many years.
But I really love the description, especially on the outside of the entrance. You've got all of this foliage there. There's like a hidden chain link fence. He's got the key to unlock it and open it, and Courtney, of course, is going, she's like, what is this, but the children are loving it. It's just a heck of an adventure for them.
Yeah, they're excited to get in there and see what's inside, and Courtney's pretty frightened about the whole idea.
Are you familiar with the writings or the dreams or whatever of Edgar Cayce?
Vaguely. He was definitely like a prophet.
Right, and he I guess he said something about the fact that the Earth was going to also come into some kind of turmoil, and I think he picked that part around Maryland and Virginia, that whole part of the East Coast, as the safe spot. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But in the book, it's not very safe.
But NASA, on their NASA webcam and their scientists and things, they always put out press releases about the meteor showers and about the potential danger of asteroids hitting the planet. So I think we're less in the dark today than we were a few decades ago.
Oh yeah.
Well, we are, but if you really watch asteroid news, and I do, so I get the news comes to me. I don't know how Yahoo knows, but they send me the stories. But there's lots of asteroid flybys. You know, last month there were like 4 that zipped past Earth, and NASA discovered them 2 or 3 days before they passed.
Isn't that crazy?
And other asteroids, they say, you know what, just zipped past. We discovered it 2 days after it went by. There's a lot of asteroids out there that we haven't discovered yet.
And you have worked in the high-tech field for over 2 decades, and you've got that, you've incorporated that kind of technology within the pages of the book.
Yeah, that was a really fun part for me.
So did you study asteroids in general, or the science of them, or the likelihood of them in order to make the story come together?
Yeah, I did a lot of research and reading about asteroids and about, you know, how I didn't include everything that NASA is doing about it, but I definitely did a lot of research and tried to include a lot of the future tech, like Robin mentioned in the book.
And would the aftermath, would the Earth be the same in the aftermath, just being, you know, kind of starting over again, or would it be completely different? I guess, I don't know how to say this, chemically, atmospherically?
If this really happened, if an asteroid storm came and asteroids were impacting the Earth over many days, it's devastating.
And
it pretty much wipes out everybody.
You do have a sci-fi edge to it. Your antagonist that's vampire-like, and then some of the characters speaking in Klingon.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, there's Colonel Cruikshank. You know, he's an older guy. He wants to make sure he lives after the storm, lives to see the future arrive, and so he does some things to help make sure he lives longer, like his vampire-like stuff. I don't want to give spoilers. And yeah, there's a lot of tech in the book and a lot of fun stuff that goes on.
Hypersonic scramjets. How did you come up with that idea? Are they actually in the works right now?
Yeah, they're in the works. You might have heard about a hypersonic missile that Russia's been testing. The U.S. has been testing hypersonic flight. It's not a reality today, and so a lot of the tech that's in the book is in development and being tested. But in the book, I've made them everyday products, from hypersonic jets to view lenses, computer interfaces that you wear like glasses, to blood transfusions that help you live longer, all kinds of things.
Let's see. The book is called Asteroids: Bridge to Nowhere. Mike McCoy is our guest. Mike S. McCoy, it says on Amazon, although the cover doesn't have your middle initial. Let's see. Do you? Is this going to be part of a series?
I hope so. It's okay. Definitely set up to continue. Robin read the book. I think she would agree that it's set up to continue. And there's a few little hints along in the book that people won't understand until they read the next one.
Okay.
And about sustenance, daily sustenance, in case something actually did happen. That is one thing that is kind of uncertain about. I mean, you've got this huge dwelling with the different rooms and the tables and the couches and everything, but you still need to have that sustenance. That doesn't last forever.
Right. So in the secret place, there's underground gardens and farms and things like that, so people can live and survive. And part of the idea of the book is, how do you choose who can live and who's not going to make it through the disaster. Rick Monday and his friends are trying to get home, but they're also trying to save a lot more people. But in this little hideaway where Rick's family is staying, they only have limited resources. So they have a big dilemma about letting more people in.
But who knows?
So, who decides? How do you choose who lives and who doesn't?
And I was thinking there would also be this whole issue of what is actually valuable. Because if something like this were to happen, I mean, currency on the other side of the event would be useless. It would be worthless.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny because in the book, you know, people are warned about asteroids coming, and some people are looting and stealing TVs and things like that, which is just ridiculous because they're going to be of no use.
Yeah, but that is accurate. That is what would happen. You know that would happen.
Yeah.
Just look at the footage after Hurricane Katrina. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But then you do have the astronauts that are you term them as sneaky, and especially the ones that NASA reports on, because sometimes they are not detected. They just kind of slip on by.
That's right. Yeah, and so, you know, there is a mission for NASA to discover all the asteroids that are of a certain size, but they're way behind schedule, you know, and so there could be something out there heading to Earth, and we don't know.
Yeah.
And
that would ruin Thanksgiving, wouldn't it?
What if they do and they're not telling us?
But you also have the attitudes of the people. I mean, it has to be a live and let live kind of a world and work together, because the choices that are going to have to be made here, you can't have animosity. You have to exist you have to coexist.
That's right. And so in the book, in the little hideaway where the family is, they have some dissension and some disaster kind of brings them together, and they do work together in the end.
And you do have that moral question about secrecy. I have something to help our family and another limited number of people, but do we really want to share that for fear of a mob? And then it all gets ruined.
That's right. So, you know, the government and Colonel Cruikshank, they implement something called the Bliss Protocol, because his idea is it's better to let people try to survive at the last moment rather than giving them an advance warning. If you give people advance warning, they may do just rioting and murdering and things like that. If they have no warning at all, they have to really work to survive.
That's interesting. That's kind of a study in human behavior. So if everybody suddenly knows because of the work of Rick Monday, then you would probably have different opinions on where is the best way to be, or to go to survive, or what to do to survive. Some people might think, like I said earlier, I was just fooling around, but I guess you could think in terms of a space station if there was enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in this situation, there's not much time.
No.
Yeah, so people are forced to decide how to survive, and you know, some people follow instructions like sheep, and other people try to do more.
On a personal note, why did you set a goal to run a double marathon on your 50th birthday and do a bicycle ride from Florence to San Francisco for 600 miles for your 60th birthday? What prompted you as those two particular goals?
I had been a triathlete, like you mentioned earlier, and so one day when I was running, when I was 49, I decided what would be something fun to do when I turned 50, and I decided to run 50 miles. So created a fun event for family and friends, and my younger brother ran the whole thing with me, and it was just a great experience. And when I turned 60, I thought, well, I have to do something again, so I came up with this 600-mile bike ride.
Oh, my gosh. And I thought I was bragging, saying I was going to walk 2 miles in the parade. Wow.
One of the other things your characters bring out in the book is preservation. I mean, everyone has their own memories, and that's where the preservation ends, is their memories. But what about tangible things? There's a huge disagreement about that, because you don't know if it should be really, really personal or something to save for the world.
Yeah, I think, you know, when there are desperate times, you kind of grab Courtney. She's very emotional and trying to grab the memories of the life that she's leaving. Other people don't really have a chance to do that. But it's hard to, when you're faced with the world changing and your life changing suddenly. What do you do? How do you react?
So is it a comfortable place for you as a writer? This is kind of a weird question, I guess. But when we read a book, we go into a comfortable place, usually. I don't mean physically. I mean, there's something about the experience of reading that story that becomes, we're in that story. I think even more so than when we were in a movie theater.
Right.
But does that happen for you as a writer? Do you find yourself in that place?
Yes. Yeah. And, and we're talking all this doomsday and stuff, but the book is really fun adventure, and it's a fast read. Once you get into it, it goes pretty quickly. And I've read it. I wrote it and I've read it 9 or 10 times because you edit and edit and edit. Even the 9th time through, I was excited about what was happening.
And
I knew what was going to happen.
But how do you view the other movies that have been put out there? Like the one actually named Asteroid, and just things like that.
Armageddon and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to, like, for example, Armageddon is about one huge asteroid coming to Earth, and I tried to make this more believable. There were 2 different NASA scientists that helped write the book. And even though it is, a fantastic adventure, I tried to keep it as real as possible. And hopefully, it's entertainment. So it's a fun read, and people can find the book anywhere on Amazon or anywhere books are sold, or visit MikeMcCoy.org.
.org. Okay, thank you. I see MikeMcCoy.me. What is that? Me?
Well, it's either way. Yeah, me, Mike McCoy. It was the first domain name I could get, and then later I got .org.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Mike sent us a copy of the book, so if I have one listener who would like it, if you call 622-9622, I'll pick one call at random and have the book here waiting for you. What an exciting book. Mike, come back with the next book, okay?
I will. It's been great to be with you.
Sounds exciting. All right. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen Silver Springs. We want to thank